When it comes to AI, policy isn't just paperwork. It's a declaration of who's in control, and who's accountable when things don't go as planned. Governance and oversight. An AI governance policy isn't a dull document gathering dust. It's a line in the sand. It tells your algorithms who's boss, and it's not the code. Imagine you're in a boardroom, defending your AI system's decisions. What clause do you pull out? That's where this policy earns its keep. The AI Project Oversight Committee Charter doesn't just establish a committee. It defines the circle of responsibility, and it's tight. In this room, decisions echo. What is the one decision this committee must never outsource? That answer holds the heart of risk management. Roles and responsibilities, it's the policy that prevents finger-pointing when production breaks. Could you name who owns the model if it fails at 2 a.m.? If not, this standard hasn't done its job. AI risk management policy is the shield. Every section of it is a lawsuit you've proactively avoided. It's not about fear. It's about foresight. Which risk are we blind to today, and how soon will it knock? Ethical and trustworthy AI. AI ethics policy. This isn't fluff. It's your moral firewall. Innovation without ethics is exploitation waiting to happen. Ask yourself, what's the line we've agreed never to cross, and are we honoring it? Fairness and bias mitigation is your mirror. Bias hides in the corners of code. This standard brings it into the light. Who gets the short end of the AI decision, and how are we fixing it? Transparency and explainability policy is your answer when the regulator or journalist asks, "Why did your model do that? Can you explain it to a non-technical stakeholder in one paragraph?" If not, you're not ready. Accountability framework isn't about pointing fingers. It's about who signs off, and who stands behind the system when the heat rises. AI-use guidelines are your ethical compass. Just because the tech can, doesn't mean you should. What use case tempts you, and why haven't you drawn the line yet? Data management and privacy. Data governance policy is the constitution of your AI program. Who owns the data crown? Who enforces the rules? Without clear answers, your foundation is shaky. Data quality and integrity standard is the brutal truth. Your model is only as good as your worst dataset. Which source are you trusting too much, and validating too little? Data privacy and protection policy is trust, encrypted. One breach, and your AI becomes a liability. Which data exposure are we normalizing without even noticing? Access control and usage guidelines decide who gets in and who stays out. Who has the keys today that shouldn't, and who's knocking on the door that should be let in? Anonymization and minimization isn't optional. It's protection by subtraction. What field could you drop right now to make the next breach survivable? Model development and lifecycle. Your model development lifecycle policy is your repeatable blueprint. Which phase do you routinely skip, and what price have you already paid for it? Validation and verification is your lie detector. A model that isn't tested is a rumor in code. Which model would fail under real-world scrutiny, not just pass the test metrics? Documentation is your insurance policy. Could someone rebuild your model from your docs, even in a courtroom? If not, your liability is growing. Reproducibility and auditability. If you can't reproduce it, you can't trust it. What step in your pipeline would crumble under a formal audit? Versioning and retirement is about knowing when to let go. What legacy model is still live, and who's stalling its retirement? Security and compliance. AI security policy isn't about paranoia. It's about preparedness. Which model is exposed right now, and how fast would you know if it was compromised? Threat modeling and mitigation is your pre-mortem. What's the one scenario we haven't modeled that might take us down? Compliance and regulatory adherence is your operating license. Lose this, and no model survives. What rule are you breaking, even if unintentionally? Third-party and open-source software usage is a risk ledger. Every dependency is a liability waiting to be unreviewed. What package are you using on trust alone? Operationalization and maintenance. Deployment and integration policy is your reality check. A model in prod is a model in risk. What integration point could fail next week, and how prepared are you? Monitoring and maintenance keeps the smart from turning stupid. What signal of model decay are you choosing to ignore? Degradation and drift plan is your early warning system. How fast would you detect a collapse, before your users or customers do? Incident management isn't about if, it's about when. Who's the first call if the model fails tonight, and do they even know they are? Tooling and infrastructure. Your approved tools list is your battle roster. What rogue tool is in your pipeline, and why hasn't it been reviewed? Provisioning and configuration is your house wiring. Where's the short circuit in your setup, and who's patching it? Cloud and edge deployment isn't just tech, it's trust. Is your model living in the wrong place, and what's it costing you? C, CD and MLOPs isn't process overhead. It's the difference between iteration and stagnation. Where are you losing time, and how much is it worth? Training and competency. Your competency framework is your skill mirror. What talent gap are you ignoring, and what will it block next month? Training policy is your risk management plan in disguise. Who's untrained, and how might that delay your next go live? Continuous learning isn't optional. It's performance insurance. What lesson have you learned, but never taught to anyone else? Evaluation and continuous improvement. Post-implementation review is where truth hides in hindsight. What did we bury in the last review to protect feelings, and is it haunting us now? Continuous improvement is your future runway. What inefficiency are we tolerating because it's too annoying to fix? Success metrics and KPIs are your compass. What metric are you proudly showing, that might be hiding a brewing failure? Final thought. These aren't just policies. They're provocations. Each one is a prompt, a probe, a pressure test. They don't sit quietly in a binder. They demand to be questioned. Used. Rewritten in the heat of deployment. Because in the world of AI, what you don't ask today, becomes the headline tomorrow.